I want to start this video off by saying thank you. I never expected my previous video to get as much attention as it did, and every single like, dislike, comment, critique, advice, all of it is appreciated. Feel free to interact with this video in any way you see fit. I greatly appreciate any engagement. With that out of the way, I'm here to talk about the most iconic moments in Destiny's history, from the Destiny 1 beta to modern day. So please join me as we take a trip through Destiny's history. On June 12th, 2014, the Destiny 1 Alpha goes live. Everyone playing has a sense of awe and wonder as they are exploring this universe for the first time. Some of the activities players find themselves doing are exploring the world, acquiring new loot, and trying to kill the nearly invincible Hollowed Knight in the Cosmodrome. 5 days after the Alpha, the Destiny public beta test launches, and a certain patrol mission in the forgotten shore of the Cosmodrome causes players to run into a Reaver Vandal. No big deal, right? Turns out, this random Reaver Vandal had a ridiculously large health pool, so he became a nightmare to kill. In fact, this Vandal became so iconic that the community came up with a name for him, Randal the Vandal. The date is September 9th, 2014, and Destiny 1 has just fully released. Fans are incredibly excited to play the full release of the game, but unfortunately, it's not fully living up to their expectations, as loot is rare, and the story seems kinda bland. Luckily, only 1 week after the game's launch, a secret activity is revealed. On September 16th, 2014, Destiny's first raid, the Vault of Glass, is opened, and teams are launching into the Ishtar Sink on Venus, excited for the challenge they are about to face. No MMO has really done a raid like this, and after around 11 hours, the world's first team, Prime Guard, beats the raid, and all of the Destiny community praises them for this incredible achievement. The overall reception of Vault of Glass is great, and the community is looking forward to seeing more raids in the future. 9 days after the launch of Destiny's first expansion, The Dark Below, a YouTube channel called The Legend himself uploads a monumental video. This video, titled Casually One-Manning Crota's End, shows exactly what it says. It is a video of him soloing the entirety of the Crota's End raid. The Destiny community is shocked, as nobody thought a raid to be soloable until then. After this video, people started viewing Crota as an absolute meme, and soloing him became a fun hobby. Destiny's third expansion, The Taken King, has arrived, and while it has sunset some content, so much more has been added. 4 strikes, 9 crucible maps, and 33 exotics, as well as a brand new story and a new location called the Dreadnought with many secrets to discover. Just 3 days after the Taken King's release, the accompanying raid, King's Fall, goes live. This raid brings an extremely epic scale to Destiny, and the world's first clan, Wobblers, also known as the Rare Drop Crew, completes it in 6 hours and 40 minutes, with Oryx himself featuring the first ever final stand and a raid boss. Destiny's next expansion, Rise of Iron, releases on September 20th, 2016, and introduces the Iron Lords and Siva to the story. The story revolves around our Guardian fighting off Siva-infected Fallen and destroying the source of Siva so that nobody can get their hands on it again. Only 3 days after Rise of Iron's launch, we get a new raid called Wrath of the Machine. This raid features some absolutely epic encounters, including riding a siege engine off of the Cosmodrome wall. The world's first completion is achieved by Clan Redeem in 2 hours, and though the raid was short, it is almost unanimously voted the best raid so far. Beating this raid gave the community access to a brand new puzzle, which involved binary, an ARG, and a lot of math. Datto and the recently renamed Math Class clan were the first to beat the puzzle, and the reward was the Outbreak Prime exotic pulse rifle. The community loves this puzzle and hope to see more like it in the future. As the content in Destiny begins to wind down, a new content drop called Age of Triumph releases, bringing an upped difficulty and new exciting loot to all raids, as well as some changes to the ritual playlist. Surprisingly, only 2 days after Age of Triumph releases, the Rally the Troops reveal trailer for Destiny 2 goes live, and many fans are very excited to see what the sequel has to bring. The Destiny 2 beta goes live on July 18th, 2017, and there are mixed thoughts on it. Some dislike the new 4v4 Crucible mode and how slow the game feels overall, and some are praising the beautiful graphics and compelling storyline. Everyone is hoping that all the complaints and bugs will be addressed and patched before the full release, but all that they can do is wait for the game's launch. Destiny 2 has finally arrived, and on September 6, 2017, the community gets their hands on it. The brand new story focusing on our Guardian losing their connection to the light and the last city falling is very interesting. The new graphics are gorgeous and our new supers and abilities are very cool. However, there are quite a few changes that are not liked. Special weapons have been removed entirely, with every special ammo weapon in Destiny 1 being allocated to the heavy slot in Destiny 2. Ability uptime and cooldowns are incredibly slow, and movement feels overall sluggish. Many players start to leave the game, especially because of new games releasing, like Fortnite. The raid that releases with Destiny 2 is called the Leviathan, and in this raid we explore exiled Cabal Emperor Calus' ship to test our might. In the end, the Legend Himself clan are the first to destroy a robot version of Calus and claim World's First. Due to the most recent expansion, Curse of Osiris, being very underwhelming, the player base is at an all-time low going into Destiny 2's newest expansion, Warmind. The expansion itself is pretty decent, but its raid layer, Spire of Stars, is where I'm focusing. Spire of Stars released on May 11th, 2018, and due to the previous raid layer, Eater of Worlds, to this day being the fastest cleared raid of all time, the community didn't expect much from this raid. Fortunately, they were wrong. The final boss, Valkaor, turned out to be an absolute nightmare, and the problem was, it was a double primary meta with no rally flags, and ammo was very limited. And Valkaor hit like a freight train. Players spent almost 6 hours on this boss alone until Clan Redeem claimed another World's First in 6 hours and 35 minutes.
There is no light here.
Players are logging into Destiny 2 in July of 2018 and doing their public events that day, only to realize that a certain heroic public event on Io was acting strangely. By killing a secret hidden mini-boss during the event, a taken portal opened to reveal a secret mission. This mission was timed, and feels very similar to the old Black Spindle mission back in Destiny 1. This mission turns out to be quite challenging, and after a while, it is cleared for the first time, and the reward is a new exotic heavy sniper rifle called the Whisper of the Worm, a direct callback to Black Spindle in Destiny 1. Overall, this mission is rated very highly amongst the community, and the weapon would go on to dominate the meta for quite a while. At this point, Destiny 2 is in a very rough state, and if player decline keeps on going as it is, the game will be dead in just a few months. Luckily, Bungie has an ace up their sleeve, and dropped some absolutely incredible news at E3 2018. Destiny 2 Forsaken is revealed, and it's showing new changes such as 9 new supers, 2 new destinations, a new core game mode called Gambit, a new incredible story, and getting rid of the dreaded double primary static role system. The community is incredibly excited, and when Forsaken arrives on September 4th, they are exploring everything that it has to offer, and it is incredible. Destiny is in a better state than ever before, and the player count skyrockets as both new and returning players dive into all that Forsaken has brought. However, 10 days after launch, something truly incredible arrives.
I've waited so long to fulfill one last wish.
On September 14th, 2018, Forsaken's raid Last Wish arrives. This is the most challenging raid to date, boasting 6 encounters and taking the world's first team of Redeem almost 19 hours to clear. The raid ends with your team delivering the heart of Riven to be cleansed and claiming your loot. However, killing Riven has unforeseen side effects, as the Dreaming City is now cursed, unlocking new secrets to be discovered like the Shattered Throne dungeon. Last Wish brings to a close the content added with Forsaken, but Year 2 of Destiny 2 is just getting started. Destiny's first ever season, Season of the Forge, has arrived, and in this season, under the watch of the EXO 801, we are exploring the old Golden Age forges in order to gain powerful loot and protect them from our enemies. Only 3 days after the season launches, a new raid called Scourge of the Past releases, with us exploring an old area of the last city called the Bots District. The raid ends with us defeating a giant fallen servitor in a mech suit, and Clan Tier 1 claims victory in a little under 2 hours. So far, the season is progressing very well, and in early January, a secret waits to be uncovered. The date is January 8th, 2019, and Bungie has just tweeted that Niobe Labs is waiting with a puzzle that needs solving, and when that puzzle is solved, the final forge, Berguzia, will be open for all players. The community is scrambling to find Niobe Labs, and once it is located in the EDZ, they get started on solving it. An entire day has passed since Niobe Labs opened, and it still hasn't been solved. So Bungie has issued a statement saying that the final forge will be opened, and Niobe Labs completion is no longer necessary to access Berguzia. Despite this, the community has poured too much time into Niobe to quit now, so players press on. The date is now January 10th, and Niobe Labs remains unsolved. But Bungie has issued a massive statement. They have split with their publisher Activision and will retain full rights of the Destiny franchise. This is fantastic news, as many view Activision as a money-hungry overlord who blocks creative vision to turn a quick profit. Fans are ecstatic, and while this news is great, it did come at the cost of losing the help of 2 great studios, Vicarious Visions and High Moon. The date is now January 11th, and after a final hint from Bungie, Niobe Labs has been solved. The team of GSXR Clyde, Glad, and Krusty appear to have been the first team to clear it, and the community is quite happy with the overall challenge of Niobe. We are part way through the second season in Destiny 2, Season of the Drifter, and players are logging on to do their heroic story missions. However, in a certain mission on Titan called Enemy of My Enemy, a new pathway is opened, revealing an item called a Fallen Transponder. After collecting 6 nodes across the Sol system and deciphering the code on the item, it leads to the farm in the ETZ, where a friendly Fallen named Mithrax lets you begin a mission titled 0 Hour. In this mission, you are taken back to the destroyed Destiny 1 tower, and you navigate through the vents and corridors, occasionally encountering a murder robot named Trevor, to stop the heist of a dangerous piece of weaponry. At the end of the mission, you defeat a fallen captain named Cyrix loyal to Aramis and claim your prize, an exotic pulse rifle called Outbreak Perfected. The mission itself would house other secrets in the coming weeks, but the main focus was the exotic, which could pump out crazy damage. The community is very happy with this mission, and overall loves secrets to discover like 0 Hour. It is June 4th, 2019, and the last season in Forsaken, Season of Opulence, has arrived. We are taken back to the Leviathan to beat Emperor Calus's challenges, and the new activity, called the Menagerie, is very fun and highly praised due to its deep replayability and focusable loot. The accompanying raid, Crown of Sorrows, releases on the same day as the season launches, so players rush in order to prepare. The raid is the first one to implement a new modifier called Contest Mode, which caps all Guardians to a certain light level for a fair race. The first and second encounters of the raid are cleared fairly quickly, leading players to the final boss, Galron the Sorrow Bearer. Teams are in this encounter for quite a while, until Clan Be Bold finishes the raid on the same instance as Datto in Math class. Datto is crushed to learn that they lost by such a small margin, but at least they got an exotic out of it. As Season of Opulence comes to an end, players are looking forward to Shadowkeep, Destiny's next expansion. It is revealed that we are going back to the moon to deal with a new force of Hive arising. Players are pretty excited, and hopefully Shadowkeep will live up to the expectations set with Forsaken. Shadowkeep has arrived, and to keep it short, it was disappointing. The campaign was kind of boring, and the story ended just as it was getting interesting. But hey, at least we got Armor 2.0 and finishers. Shadowkeep's raid, Garden of Salvation, arrives on October 5th, and it is quite challenging on day 1. Clan Ascend achieves World's Firsts in 6 hours and 14 minutes, and the community overall has mixed feelings on this raid. About 1 month into Shadowkeep's second season, Season of Dawn, a new puzzle has just been discovered. A mysterious location called the Corridors of Time has just been unlocked, and the community suspects that this will lead to a secret exotic quest. After 6 days of the community gathering information from hundreds of players and much theory crafting, the route through the Corridors of Time has been discovered. At the end, we discover the grave of our guardian and claim a mysterious exotic quest item. After turning this item in at Saint 14, a new exotic quest starts, where players could claim the exotic fusion rifle, the Bastion, which was already on the roadmap for the season. Players are a little disappointed, as the Corridors of Time event was very cool, but the reward was somewhat disappointing. The final season of Shadowkeep, Season of Arrivals, is here, and so are the Pyramid Ships. On the same day that Arrivals releases, the next expansion, Beyond Light, is revealed. The reveal trailer showcases a new darkness power our Guardian will be obtaining, as well as the central location for that story, Europa. As Season of Arrivals comes to a close, and the Destiny 2 servers go offline for the last time before Beyond Light, the Traveler begins to heal itself, and several planets are taken away by the darkness. Beyond Light is here, and with it we have a completely new darkness subclass called Stasis, and it is overpowered, to say the least. The new story is pretty good, but the main problem is the DCV. The Destiny content vault is where all of the Sunset content goes to be retired, and while we have seen a return of some of that content recently, over 75% of the guns at the time, along with 5 raids, several iconic locations, and many Crucible maps were sunset into the DCV, and the content that we got with Beyond Light just wasn't enough to make up for what we lost. Fortunately, Beyond Light's raid, Deepstone Crypt, is fantastic, and the day 1 experience is very challenging, with Clan Luminous taking home World's First in 5 hours and 29 minutes. The overall loot and aesthetic of Deepstone Crypt is awesome, and it is rated very highly amongst the community. 11 days after Beyond Light's second season, Season of the Splicer, the original Destiny 1 raid, Vault of Glass, has returned. Players are hopping into the familiar Vault on Venus to see what new secrets it holds. Since this isn't an original raid, on day 1 the world's first team not only has to beat the raid on contest mode, but they will also have to beat it on a newly introduced challenge mode. Team Elysium beats both contest and challenge mode first, and becomes day 1 champions. Overall, the community is very happy with the changes made to Vault of Glass, and the loot is quite good. It has been announced by Bungie that the upcoming Witch Queen DLC has been delayed, so the new season, Season of the Lost, will be the longest in history. Fortunately, to make up for this, Bungie drops a mini expansion in December called the 30th Anniversary Pack, which includes several new weapons and armor, a new activity called Dares of Eternity, and a new dungeon called Grasp of Avarice. And with that dungeon comes the return of the classic Destiny 1 rocket launcher, the Gjallarhorn. The content in this pack is received quite well, and the launch of the Witch Queen is fast approaching. The Witch Queen is here, and with it a new location called Savathûn's Throne World, a weapon crafting system, a new exciting story, a new enemy faction called the Lucent Brood, and a new weapon type called the Glaive is here. The expansion was the breath of fresh air that the community needed after the gut punch of sunsetting and Beyond Light. The story overall was fantastic, with several awesome twists and turns. The new weapon crafting system is a bit confusing, but still very cool, and the glaives exist. The raid that comes with Witch Queen, called Vow of the Disciple, is great. However, the day one experience was disappointing due to major server issues, but even still, the raid is fantastic. Team Elysium earns yet another world's first win, and overall the community is very happy with what Witch Queen brought to the table. Through the seasons of Witch Queen, each of the old light subclasses got a rework, gaining new abilities and aspects for each one, making them more customizable. Speaking of subclasses, during the Lightfall reveal stream, the new subclass Strand is showcased, and it looks very cool. We also get to learn more about the quality of life features and the new destination, Neomuna, arriving in Lightfall. The community is incredibly hyped, and are looking forward to Lightfall's release. King's Fall has returned, and Day 1 raiders are immediately noticing how different it is from its Destiny 1 counterpart. Since this is another returning raid, both contest and challenge mode have to be cleared in order to claim World's First. After a massive comeback, Clan Elysium scores another World's First, successfully completing the three-peat. We are now 2 weeks away from Lightfall, and the final story mission of the final season of Witch Queen, Season of the Seraph, has released. At the end of this mission, we watch an incredible cutscene that shows the Traveler starting to leave Earth, but stopping because it knows the Black Fleet approaches. Fans are incredibly excited, and it is time for Lightfall. Lightfall is here, and it releases to the highest player count the franchise has ever seen. It is massively hyped up, but unfortunately it doesn't live up to the hype. The story is full of holes and confusing. The new characters, Nimbus and Rohan, are boring and forgettable, and the new destination is just kinda empty and lifeless. Strand is pretty cool though, but it is not fun to fully unlock. The new raid, Root of Nightmares, is gorgeous, and the loot is pretty good, but it is stupidly easy, being cleared on contest mode in about 2.5 hours by Team Harden the Paint. Lightfall is received very poorly, especially since we just got out of one of the best expansions of all time, Witch Queen. However, worse than all of this, we got the passing of a hero. On March 17th, 2023, Lance Reddick, the voice actor for Commander Zavala, passed away. Players gathered around him in-game and honored this legendary actor. It was, and still is, truly heartwarming to see all the community gather to celebrate his legacy. So, as I continue with this silly little video, I hope you know that I don't want to downplay his passing, and that it will always be a tragedy in the community. Crota's End has returned, and with how easy it was in Destiny 1, surely it won't be difficult now, right? Turns out, it is much harder than Destiny 1. The contest and challenge modes definitely added on to the difficulty of the raid, and Elysium barely takes home yet another world's first title, three-peating in reprised raids. The date is September 18th, 2023. Just an ordinary weekend, right? Players are hopping into Trials of Osiris to get their Adept Igneous Hammers, and a game-breaking bug has been discovered where you can craft certain weapon frames into different weapons, the most popular combination being an aggressive shotgun frame on an auto rifle. Trials turns into chaos as matches devolve into who can land their 30 bullets first. This bug also turns PvE chaotic, as players have crafted aggressive shotgun frames onto heavy grenade launchers, causing them to absolutely melt bosses. This weekend of mayhem is dubbed the Craftening, and Bungie releases an emblem to commemorate it. Season of the Wish launches in November of 2023, and because of layoffs and delays, this will be the longest season in all of Destiny's history. Along with this season, we get a great story, good weapons, fun activities, and on December 1st, a new dungeon called Warlord's Ruin. Immediately, this dungeon stands out for its dark medieval themes and having 3 boss encounters instead of the normal 2. The loot is pretty good and includes 2 of the new rocket frame sidearms, which are instantly popular amongst players. As the season progresses and the story ends, we get a few content drops such as a loot refresh for the Prophecy Dungeon, and some weekly quests called Riven's Wishes, but the real content will release in April, and its name, Into the Light. On April 9th, a new content drop called Into the Light releases, and it is fantastic. We got a new Horde Rush defense mode called Onslaught, 12 returning weapons, 2 returning exotic missions, 3 new Crucible maps, new armor, an awesome weapon focusing system, the return of the Super Black Shader, a new location, and a raid boss gauntlet called Pantheon. On this same day, we got another Final Shape reveal, showing the new Prismatic subclass, where you can use different abilities from all the subclasses, exotic class items, and the new enemy faction called the Dread. The hype around Final Shape is building, and the community cannot wait for it to release on June 4th. Final Shape has finally arrived, and players are instantly noticing how incredible it is. The new Paleheart destination and Prismatic subclass feel absolutely fantastic, and the new Dread enemy faction are a fresh addition to the enemy sandbox. The story is incredible as we get to deeply explore some of our main characters, and the raid that launches with the Final Shape, Salvation's Edge, is the hardest raid ever released. Team Parabellum takes 19 hours to clear this raid, and the final story mission, Excision, brings an incredible end to the Light and Darkness saga. In the time that follows the Final Shape's launch, new achievements are made, as Bog on My Dog becomes the first person to solo the Witness, and a team made of Glad, Scarrow 9, ATP, Nelstar 15, Pigeon, and Fallout Plays somehow managed to beat Salvation's Edge without any form of communication. Destiny 2 is in a great state right now, and the community is loving all the changes and challenges that have been added to the game in just the past few months. Destiny's second episode, Revenant, is here, and 3 days after its launch, the new dungeon, Vesper's Host, arrives. This is the first dungeon to feature contest mode in the first 48 hours, and the community is loving the new difficulty and loot. Team Indebted claims world's first in 4 hours and 22 minutes, and overall, Vesper's Host is ranked very highly amongst the community. Destiny's next episode, Heresy, is here, and brings with it a new story focusing on Oryx and the Dreadnought, and a new arc verb, Bolt Charge, which instantly cements itself in the DPS and endgame metas. 3 days after Heresy launches, we get a new dungeon, Sundered Doctrine, which also has contest mode enabled in the first 48 hours, and Big Zane, Mario Monkey, and Luigi Style are world's first to complete this dungeon in 5 hours and 17 minutes. As I look back at all the achievements in this community, I can't help but be proud of all that we've accomplished. At the time of recording, Destiny is in a pretty good state, and I can only hope that it stays that way. I want to thank you for watching, Bungie for making this game we call home, and the community for achieving all these feats. Keep on doing your best, and I hope you have a great day.